are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Special beyond special.
Best player in the Premier League.
Captain Marvel. Drogba! Rooney! Oh, wonderful! That is one Derby diamond.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs. I'm Dylan alongside Mila and Grant. Before we actually get into the episode, obviously tragic news that Diogo Jota and his brother passed away last week. There's no good way of putting awful news like this into something like this, so I'll try my best. But obviously an awful situation, more on the human side. We all know him as a player, and that's one thing, and he lived a legacy with Liverpool that was remarkable to end it, ended with the Premier League title and won a thing with Portugal, but more importantly, a wife lost her husband, a father is lost, and brothers are lost from a family. I couldn't imagine. Our condolences go out to them and everything. For everyone grieving, I'm sorry. There's no really good way of putting it. But a legacy that will be remembered for a long time. I am sorry for the awful image. I don't know why I download like that, but good on Liverpool for paying out the remainder of his contract to his family. I think in terms of the way that they've handled the situation, I don't think there was many better ways of doing it. He will have his number immortalized, and he's one of those cult heroes that will live on forever. So sad day for the footballing world, sad day for their family. So our condolences go out to them. But into our regularly scheduled program, Chelsea continue on in the Club World Cup as they beat Palmeiras. And now they have another Brazilian test against a former captain. Obviously, Grant is fond of that one. We'll then get into the transfer heat up as Arsenal have now moved closer to Noni and Gyökeres. Anthony Elanga got a here we go today to Newcastle. United continued to do no business, which is concerning. And we'll talk a little City at the end as they've been linked to Dumfries, and there might be a goal change coming, but we will see. Let's start with Chelsea. Yeah, a goalie change. Sorry. I ran out of breath
at the end.
Right
at the end.
That's right. Ran out of breath so quick. Let's start with Chelsea though. I am gonna throw up the formation, and you can kind of run with it, Grant.
Yeah, so I threw a little depth chart together, where we stand right now. But Palmeiras game, 2-1 win. Again, at this stage, you just need to advance. I think the scoreline was a little flattering for them. They came out really strong to start the second half. I'd say probably the first half. Second half, they were definitely the better side, but made some subs, changed the game. And I thought we were the rightful winners of the game. Interesting in the way we set up. I feel like because it was a team that wanted to sit deep, we threw kind of 6 in that forward line and only left one midfielder in there by himself. That was Andre Santos, who we've been dying to see. Most Chelsea fans were really hoping to see a lot of him in this tournament, and we haven't gotten that. And he came in with, 5 minutes before kickoff. Reece James felt something. Words we hate to hear, but have come accustomed to. Andre's in, and that's not his preferred position. He's more of that Enzo role, box-to-box 8, double-digit goals in the league last year, but he played as that lone 6, and he looked really comfortable, looked really good on the ball, strong in the duel, really composed, had a little bit of bastard in him, for lack of a better term, just yelling at people after he takes a ball off them while they're on the ground. I don't know. I was really pleased with that. We had questions about why he wasn't playing. Maybe it's down to the training, this or that, but he looked very comfortable. Caicedo was suspended that game. Lavia not fit. Another one that we've come to get used to, unfortunately. But I think it just goes to show he'll get his chances this year, and I think he's going to take full advantage. It's a player with a lot of character. He's captain the youth sides in Brazil. He captained Strasbourg on loan. I think we're going to see a lot of him. He looked really good. And another player that we saw, again, probably the opposite, where we didn't think we'd see much of him, if at all, and he comes in and plays a really impactful role right away. João Pedro came in up The Lap looked a lot more like a guy who just played Ipswich. He looked a lot more like a player of his age. That's going to happen. We're honeymoon phase where, oh, look at this. He looked really good to start too. I have no doubts he'll come good for us, but you started to see the holes in his game. And again, he's a young player. We paid 30 million euros for him. I'd expect that. But João Pedro showed us a lot, I think, in that cameo. I mean, straight out of vacation, he was on the beach and he looked sharp. The interplay looked really good. He did come in up top, which I was on here last episode telling you that wouldn't happen. Sorry. I still don't think that's where he's going to be utilized the most, but he dropped deep a lot. He linked up play. He just looked really comfortable. He's not going to be the guy who comes in and scores 30 goals. I think we all know that, but looked really intelligent, selfless, understood these guys' movements already and where people want to receive the ball. I'm really optimistic. I think this signing is going to work out well for us. I still think we're going to see a lot more of him in the half spaces, starting maybe as a winger. But yeah, really pleased with that. And then on the Palmeiras side of things, I mean, we've kind of been waiting for Val to really have a moment in the tournament. I feel like every time, at least for me, watching Palmeiras, I'm kind of, okay, what are we getting? I'm seeing these Neymar comparisons. I want to see something. I think we got that kind of moment. I don't think he was particularly great up until that moment. But again, I think that has a lot to do with how the game went. Just instinctive, right? Gets in front of Colwell, who I think has been really good the past few months. I think he's a little bit under the radar in that sense. I was critical of him early in the year, but he's been very good of late. Esteval takes that touch in front of him, takes another touch out his feet, weak foot near post, just rocket. I saw some people criticizing the keeper for that, and you guys know me. I'm very quick to criticize Robert Sanchez. What's he supposed to do? Maybe he could have been positioned better. Is he going to stop that shot? Probably not. So, I mean, that was just a moment of just wow. That was what we've been waiting to see from him. Glad he didn't do the no celebration moment. I'm glad he got to turn up for his boyhood club, but you're ours now, son. He is ours. Palmer tried to talk to him. Definitely got nothing in terms of an understanding. But I'm excited for him to come over to the team, and we'll talk about it a little later when we get to Noni, but I think there's a reason why we're willing to sell a player of his caliber because we're bringing this one. So, yeah, we get Caicedo back for the next round. That's huge.
Yeah.
I think him and Enzo will probably be in the middle because Lavia's hurt. I don't think he starts João Pedro, but I'd love to see that. Start him off the left, tuck him in, Cucurella overlap, because we're playing Fluminense been playing with a 5-back for the better most of this tournament. So I can imagine us just leaving Caicedo by himself, throw Cucurella up there, throw Enzo up there, and then tuck in João Pedro. I think he can start off the left, and if we set up that way. Neto on the right, Palmer in the middle. It'd probably be Jackson up top, and I think that's a huge game for him too, because I mean, he had 2 years of no competition, a free run at the Chelsea number 9 spot, and I think he did all right. I think he was pretty good for 2 years, but there's guys in competition. There's serious competition, so I think that's the type of player. I'd like to think he's one that likes that. He wants this diversity, and we're hearing he doesn't want to get sold. Fight. I love that. I think that'll bring the best out of him. I think he'd be a little bit more clinical knowing there's 2 hungry guys there. Pause. Behind him waiting to take his spot. So I think Colwell's suspended for running his mouth. That's tough. So it'll probably be Tosin in the back alongside Chalobah. Reese says he's fit. I don't know, but I think we can beat Fluminense. If that was a question to be asked, I think we're the favorites to win that game. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, what I've learned from the last 2 or 3 games is that this psychopath may have some pep in him. I think we were talking about just the fact that he can clip farm into something like this, but he's tactically, I've been pretty impressed. I thought at the end of last season, I thought we saw that maybe he could have been a little one-trick pony, just in terms of him not wanting to play maybe another way or another style. That was Facundo's big gripe with Enzo was just like the lack of him doing stuff. And maybe for a lack of better terms, it was just a lack of having players that could do different things. And that's kind of been Chelsea's go-to here is we're going to bring in a bunch of different profiles, a bunch of players that do a bunch of different things. And throughout a 90, can you do enough to change the team in game to get us over the line? Throughout this competition, we've seen it. Now, I will preface it with we haven't seen it against maybe Premier League quality, but I still think that all the teams you guys have played are very well in the mix of like would be mid to low tier Premier League sides. So I don't think it's like that because I've actually taken this as these Brazilian teams are no pushover. None of the teams in this competition have really been pushovers. So I would like to see it against maybe a Premier League side, but honestly, like I've just been super impressed with him overall and his ability to use players. As for João Pedro, I think he starts. I mean, look, he got 54 minutes in this game. I don't know why he couldn't.
Came on in the 54th, but got good. Second.
Came in the 54th. I don't know if you're kind of in the same boat, Mila. I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I can't.
I didn't watch the game either. Is the thing. No. So,
yeah, no, he looked good. Just watch the comp.
Just watch the comp. Yeah, that's
in terms of him starting. I think that's more on the manager and what he wants to see. Probably more minutes, if anything. But
it'll probably be in Nkunku.
High stakes.
It'll probably be in Nkunku. I don't know. I think to your point, Dylan, kind of to what I alluded to last week, where we had so many signings, and especially in the final third, that just weren't used in the second half of the season, whether they were loaned out or just on the end of the bench. Clearly didn't fit what the manager wanted. And now this year, I think we're starting to see, they're going to talk to him and see what players he likes and who would fit his system. Fourth place in a trophy, that's what we wanted. All right, you can talk to us. So I think Pedro's in that mold where he had a quote today where it's like the difference between him and Jackson. Jackson's a 9. João Pedro can play all across the attack 4. And he can play the 10, either wing, up top. So I don't know. I've been really optimistic. And again, to your point, we've played a team from the Tunisian league. We played LAFC. Benfica is a good side, but you know what I mean? Like, I totally understand the argument. Can you do it on a rainy night in Stoke? But I'm really optimistic, and I think we'll get to it in a little bit with Cole transfer situation. But I'm really starting to get optimistic with how we're approaching this window in terms of departures, arrivals. I feel like I can trust them now, which I really think is a dangerous thing to say with our track record. We've made some very pointless signings. There's no doubt about that. I think last summer was really bad. I've harped on that enough. But I think the vision's starting to align between the sporting directors and the manager. I'm really optimistic about this season. It isn't by no means done. There's a lot of guys that got to go. There's a few guys that got to come in, but starting to get there.
Yeah, I mean, just the transfer policy and the way that Chelsea just do business now is the way that everybody's starting to do business. I mean, City's starting to do it this way. It's just the future. You guys, every team is going to be buyers. And then everyone's going to be looking to sell their trash. And that's how it is all the time. But you guys have just done it to a different level. And it's impressive. I mean, the fact that you guys can cycle in and out of the spinning rotation.
Worth of players.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll bring up Gittins here because I think it's another good example. Look, we haven't even seen what Gittins brings to this team. And I can tell you that every player that we've seen so far has looked really good. And they all work within the system, but they're all just so different and unique to each other. Like Noni, and we'll talk about him, I feel like maybe became a little redundant, right? Like you already have that type of player already on the roster. So why do you need another? The João Pedro one just kind of signals the red flag for Nkunku for me. Like that's kind of the player in the mold that we're looking at, right? And Nkunku's going to be gone. How do we replace that profile of player? Bam, João Pedro. A better version of Nkunku in the Prem that's proven to work. Now, I'm not saying that Nkunku is a bad player by any means, but we've seen that in the Premier League, it just hasn't worked out. Whether that's situational or maybe he's like a Sancho and it just doesn't work in this league as well. That's, to be seen. But
different conversation. Yeah. I think Gittins is a really exciting one.
That's what I
Gittins
was
absolutely
that
plays.
was my question.
Gittins
No,
is
no,
a
'cause
proper wing.
oh, sorry. Does he
I'm sorry,
get
go
to
ahead.
play though?
Yeah, like is it like Joe
For you
Pedro?
Oh
guys,
no, because he's registered
he's
already. He
done.
already played in the tournament for Dortmund. He can't
Okay,
play.
that's
Right.
fair.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Makes sense.
yeah, he came for the photos. He was on the sideline before they even announced it. And now I think he's going back because he can't play. But I think he's going to definitely get a run in the team. He's a proper winger, touchline winger, 1v1s, beat your man, create a chance. I mean, our biggest complaint with Sancho in that position last year, the amount of times like we were just begging him to shoot, like, oh please, like you have this opportunity. The system caters to those wide players just being fed 1v1 chances.
Yeah.
Madueke, I think, was one of the guys who takes full advantage. He can get frustrating. He can just not get his moves off. He can have 1 to 10 on his dribbles, but he'll keep going, right? Gittins is of that same mold. And I think he fits really well in that system. Right back to the point we were just making where you're starting to see these guys are who the manager wants to use. Look at the depth chart. You could throw Neto on the left, Madueke on the left, but both of them are better on the right. I think we know that. And Tyreek George, I really like him, but again, he probably gets a loan. Do you want to rely on him at 19 years old? Different story. So yeah, I think Gittins is another really positive signing. Cucurella needs a backup. I think that's really obvious. We don't want to see Gusto out there. I think it'll be Hato. That's the only name I've heard us connected to. Keeper situation as well, as you can see via this fantastic graphic I made. Probably gonna be Sanchez.
I saw there was some Emmy links. I feel like Emmy just with any team that is needing a goalkeeper.
No, yeah.
I saw it, they shut that down pretty quick. Center back, I mean, Batty Shields hurt. Fofana, I mean, Fofana is great, but he's played like 30% of the available games since transferring over. It's been 3 years, so it's hard to rely on him. Sarr's 19 years old from Ligue 1. Trev's really good depth piece, but there's an argument to be had. I think a Champong can play there too in this team by a lot. Maybe 15, 20 appearances maybe, but I'd like to see him get some consistent run. I think he can play, whether it's at. I think he could play runner back. I hope he gets some minutes. So I'm not opposed to staying put with our defenders, but I think left back is the most obvious need for us right now. That has to get done. Cucurella can't play another 60 games. He's played for a year straight. I mean,
yeah,
he needs a rest. So,
yeah, I'd be curious to see what profile of left back you go for, because like the modern game has just gone so
he does everything. Cucurella does all these different roles.
Yeah, like
I think it's Hato. It's the only one I've heard. Hato's the only one I've heard. So I mean,
I don't know.
Looks like a center back. He can tuck.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've heard.
Like that's kind of more his thing, but he plays well in the middle. He plays well in the middle too, inverting. But I think naturally he was a center back, kind of like you would think of Vardiol in terms of like his physical profile. But I think that's who we're looking at. I haven't heard any other names, but again, who knows? Yeah. We can bring in anybody. I loved Vega. I thought he would have been really good for us as a depth piece, but I guess he burnt that bridge, which is kind of disappointing. But back to your other point, Dylan, that's the model. Paid 12 for him. Now we're going to get like 30. All right.
Yeah.
We'll live without him. I think he's a good player, but we'll live without him. So we'll see. But again, I'm very optimistic with how everything's turning out.
There's nothing to not be optimistic about when it comes to Chelsea. Like you said, onto a semifinal. You're getting new players every single game, pretty much, which is impressive.
You're getting bread every single game,
and 60 million.
So yeah, but onto
we might be getting another income stream. Oh no, we're not talking about that yet. Do we want to chat real quick about the other side of the bracket?
Yeah, let's do that. PSG Madrid.
Yeah. So PSG Madrid's on the other side. So definitely the favorable side was ours. But yeah, PSG Bayern was a great game, but again, PSG just showing their class above. And then on the other side of the bracket, I mean, Madrid, Dortmund. I don't know how Dortmund keeps scamming their way into these competitions. Every time I see their lineups and I watch them play, it's just really bad. They don't look very good, but they got Champions League spots in Bundesliga. I swear they were in 9th for most of the season, and
they made it interesting at the end.
And it was a 1-goal game. Yeah, it ended up being pretty interesting, but I never felt they were going to win that game.
No.
Never felt they were getting close. Gonzalo Garcia scored again, and it was another really good goal. That's maybe another thing to watch. But Mbappe also had a really good goal. He's Mbappe. But yeah, PSG Madrid. I think that's a really good game. I think they're probably going to see us in the final and be a relatively big favorite. Whoever comes out of that side, I think for us it would be a really good litmus test to see where this team's at. But in terms of that game, how do you guys see it going? I personally, I probably have it like 4-2 PSG. I feel like
Oh,
Madrid have firepower, but PSG are just so. I think they're a level above the rest. I really do,
I
because we're
think
seeing
they're
what
up
they're doing to all
though.
these big teams.
Yeah, but I think Madrid are up for it. They had a down year, a dip.
Yeah.
And with new coach, Xabi's got a new philosophy in the way they play. I think they're up for it. Um,
They've looked good.
not to
They've been
mention,
growing into the
you got,
tournament, I feel.
yeah, but you have to remember the suspensions as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't
So
know who
you have
PSG's fourth
Hoyson,
string center
yeah.
back is.
it's
Bernat. It's going to be Bernat.
Bernat.
yeah, and Marquinhos, right?
It's like a
Yeah,
21-year-old
The other one
Brazilian.
available.
Yeah.
I mean
He played against
losing,
Arsenal, Bernat.
but I don't know, losing Pacho and Hernandez back to back right there, like that's a
That was pretty
huge
tough.
loss.
That was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Hoyson's
clearly
out as well, though.
Hoyson is out as well, and that might be a bigger issue because he's looked really good.
Well, Dylan, fair play to you. I was fully against it and totally just against the idea ever even happening. But Tchouameni's playing that central center back. Again, you also alluded to it at the time, but it's almost a hybrid. Like he'll look like he's a midfielder. I think like the second half of that game, looked like a DM, but that whole first half, it's just moving in and out of that. And I think Xabi Alonso is really starting to get his hands on this team pretty quickly in that sense. But it's like a very fluid role. He's looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hoyson and Rudiger either side of him, I think really helps with that. Losing Hoyson's a big miss. He's also looked very comfortable in that system.
For sure.
I do think they're up for it. I just think PSG have so much. I think that's how highly I rate them. I think you're right. Madrid look better.
Crazy.
Well,
No
I just
center
think these games are wide open.
bro.
I don't know, bro. I see this game getting open. PSG throws so much forward. Madrid are going to have some early chances to do something, but I think PSG again will have no problem kind of picking them apart. The system and the way it's supposed to defend. I've seen Trent. I don't particularly great in the tournament, even though he's had like 2 assists. I don't know. I think there's ways to get at this team, and I think PSG will find them.
No.
I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be like 2-1. I want to say it's PSG because they're the best team on planet Earth right now. But this is the first real test for the Madrid midfield. Obviously, they've gotten away with playing lesser midfields and like Goulet and Garcia and all these guys kind of just being in the fold, right? Like, I love it. That looks like a way of really dominating La Liga. I'm curious to see how it goes up against the best midfield in the world. Like, can you get away with Goulet being in the midfield? I'm not sure. So I'm really fascinated from the idea of like, this is Alonso's first game with like his hands on a team. I assume that Mbappe starts. And so then like, what do you do with Vinny? Does Vinny start? I don't think he's looking
Mbappe,
great.
Vinny.
Yeah, but like, can you take
Probably
Garcia out? He's played so well.
Yeah, it's Mbappe.
It's so weird.
On merit, he should start. It should be him and Mbappe, but it's going to be Mbappe and Vinny. But to your Arda Güler point, he's been really good. He's been really good.
Yes.
And I think it's a fair question, especially with the way Bellingham's played the past 2 years almost as a forward, to kind of get that muscle memory back. Like, oh, you're a midfielder again. You're going to have to track back. Along with Güler, who, again, they stick him on the right wing, like also kind of developing that attacker's mindset. It is a good question. And PSG, again, if there's holes to be found, they will find them. So I don't know. I just think that's how highly I rate this team. I think it's one proper cohesive unit. Dembele might get a start. I think he's getting back to full fitness. So I don't know. That could be really tasty. But yeah, 4-2. I'm going to stick with 4-2.
Yeah. I'll go 2-1 PSG. I still think they're the better side. And I think that Madrid still has a lot more to be worked out, even with PSG missing a guy or two. But yeah, Madrid. I'm so
Mila.
fascinated this year by it. I'm going to go on the record here and say that I think that Vinicius is going to find himself on the wrong side of Xavi Alonso's game plans.
I
And
kinda agree with that.
towards the end of the year, we might be seeing those Vinny to Saudi links heat up again because I don't think anyone can afford him, and I don't think Madrid will sell him for cheap. And I just don't think that he doesn't seem like a Xavi Alonso player to me. I don't think he makes the intelligent footballing decisions on
And
the pitch
Rodrigo?
like other people.
Because I don't think Rodrigo's sticking around at this rate.
I think
That's for
both of
different
them are gone.
reasons.
I think both of them are.
Do you think they're willing to let both of them go? Yeah.
I
Fair,
think that
fair.
they can bring in. That's the thing is the question of like who will replace them. But I think it's Mbappe's team, and I
Whoever
think
they
that when
want.
you made that
Absolutely
decision,
whoever they
like,
want.
when you made the
Well, they got
decision,
Mastantuono at the right. That's already one pickup for a position.
it's a great point. And then you have
But
And
it's hard to even
yeah.
see the positions at this point. You know what I mean? Because they've had the 3-man midfield, 5 back, and then Tchouaméni
That's
almost
true.
coming in that midfield, making it 4 of them, and just kind of the 2 attackers. Vinny always ends up out left. The right side fixes itself, but again, it's still pretty fluid. So
Yeah.
I'm having trouble even seeing like who would replace because I don't know what he wants. Like, does he want like an Ekatike next to Mbappe? Like that'd probably be nasty. He's on the market, right? Like if things move quick, they get rid of Rodrigo. Who knows? But
Right.
yeah, I still think to your point, Dylan, they're working all those kinks out. So not yet.
I think that Xavi Alonso is a very intelligent manager, and I don't think that in his master plan of how he wants Madrid to play, I don't think it's transitional. I think it's possession based, and I think it's hold the fucking ball and just dominate games from back to front. And I don't think you can do that with Vinicius. He's just not one of those players. He loses the ball. That's part of his games. He loves to play in transition. He's a talented player. I'd take him at any club in the world. I just don't know if he's a Xavi Alonso player.
Could he play the inside 10 at Man United?
He could play the inside whatever at Man United. Man United is not a good
Then you get ready to wing back.
It's not a good measuring stick for anybody. Anyways, fuck Madrid, fuck PSG. We're a Premier League podcast. Let's talk more Premier League stuff. Yeah, Newcastle finally getting off the blocks. The only Champions League team that hasn't made really a signing yet finally makes a signing. Looks like Anthony Elanga for 55 million on a 5-year deal. I really like this move. I'll wait to save my thoughts. But Mila, what do you think about Elanga going to Newcastle?
This is a replacement for someone, right? For
Almiron.
Yeah.
Their right winger is Jacob Murphy. That's their only right winger.
I guess it's fair. I don't really have many feelings about this. I'm not very moved by Elanga. I think he did have a little bit of a rise in his career this season. But I don't think this is like a groundbreaking move as a Champions League side. Might
Not
eat
a
my
needle mover
words
for you.
this season. Yeah, not a needle mover. 55 mil. I don't think that's too expensive in context of the market right now, but I don't know. We'll have to see his output. I think he did great at Nottingham Forest, but is that the ceiling or is there more to the game? And I guess they seem to think there's more to his game that they can unlock.
You think it's mid-table baller? That's what he is. No,
Yeah.
I get you. I think it is definitely a need. They needed someone on the right wing. Jacob Murphy.
They needed
Jacob Murphy had like 20 GA in the league. He was very effective, but as a Champions League club, to your point, is like, are you confident going in there with Jacob Murphy? I love Jacob Murphy's game. Every goal he scores is a rocket. Like it's fucking awesome. But that's your only right wing option.
Yeah.
Like you can't have that. So I think Elanga's definitely gonna add something there. Very dynamic. I think he'll have no problem just whipping in crosses to Isak, getting his dribbles off, finding Isak. I think it's a good signing.
Yeah.
But yeah, 55. I mean, we'll talk in a bit, but I was seeing he was quoted for like 40 to 45. So 55 does seem a little steep. I mean, we got Pedro for about 55. I don't know. To your point, maybe that's just the market. That's what it is. Anyone from the Prem is like a minimum 50. But yeah, I think it was something that had to be done. And Buma was their first target. They were always kind of linked on and off with Noni for maybe a year or so, but this was a hole that needed to be filled in the squad. But to your point, maybe there were better options out there. Can you guys think of any? Like, Mila, do you have any? Like, I think Bob would have been nice. I know you wouldn't want to see him leave, but I think Oscar
Yeah,
Bob,
that's the thing.
obviously, he hasn't played as much. He hasn't done as much in his senior career. It's a player that maybe moves me. Who do you have in mind?
I mean, as a right winger, I think
Like
you do have a
right-sided.
point. There aren't many options out there, so this might have been just what they had to go do. But I also haven't really deeped this option for my club right now.
Yeah, true.
There
do you think,
isn't a lot of right wing options. There just isn't. This makes me feel a lot better about paying whatever it is for Mbeumo, right? Like, this is the running rate for Premier League talent now. I can't believe it. I can't believe how expensive the game has gone. But look, Anthony Elanga is a super serviceable player, and I think from a perspective of Newcastle, he's a better version of Jacob Murphy, like a better attacking
right-sided
talent,
winger, more dynamic, less
more
thunder
dynamic,
bastards, I feel, but
faster. He's not as good of a
other than
shooter, and that's
that,
the thing. Is like he's not going to get you a whole lot of goals, but I don't think that's what they need. I think that Newcastle is gearing up for Gordon to take a leap.
Gordon can get you goals.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. This is banking on Gordon taking a leap, which you should. And Anthony Elanga
Pulling
is just,
them chances. Elanga's the creator.
yeah, he is the creator. And
He'll make
honestly,
shit happen on that side. He'll make
he
shit happen.
reaffirms what's his name? Eddie Howe's kind of philosophy, which is high pressing, fast, physical athletes that can get you GA, which Anthony Elanga is like the perfect fit for that. I think it's a good bit of business. I don't like how slow that they've been, especially with the amount of money that they can really spend. But this is a good signing. I think that Newcastle will probably continue to make some signings here. I'm interested to see if they do any outgoings. Haven't been linked with anybody really, but they're off the marks. I mean, I honestly I
Trafford's
don't know.
close, right?
Yeah,
they didn't get that over the line yet.
No, there hasn't been. There hasn't been.
I don't know.
Since that initial.
It's close.
It's got to be.
I don't think anyone else is going in for him.
It'll be interesting.
So,
like I said, Newcastle is the only Champions League team that really hadn't got off the marks yet in terms of getting signings.
I think they need a defender. They definitely need to bring in a defender. I'm surprised the Gahey links went so cold. Because Liverpool were the only team I saw linked to him. I still think, I mean, he's going to be cheaper now. You probably get him for 35, 40 because he's on an expiring deal. He's not re-signing. So I think that would be a really smart move for them. Because, I mean, I love Dan Burn and Fabian Schär, but they're both on the wrong side of 30. Botman's really good, but he's had some injury problems. They absolutely could use some depth there. But their midfield looks fantastic. And I think to your point in style of play, I can see a lot of goals coming from someone in that midfield winning a challenge and just finding Elanga on the run.
Yeah.
Or he gets the ball, dribbles one or two guys, transition. Like I can absolutely see it working out there. But yeah, I don't really know who else is on the market where it's like he's also willing to go to Newcastle because they've had some problems with attracting the talent. So I don't know. I think it's a good move, but again, we'll see.
I would be concerned if I was a Newcastle fan, sorry, and this was my only signing, or Trafford and him are the only two signings they get in. Because if they
need to bring in a defender.
I can't stress how important this is from a Newcastle perspective, because like if they don't do well either in the Champions League or they don't get Champions League next season, they will get ripped apart. Like Isak is not staying another year if you don't got Champions League. And he's going somewhere. I doubt that Guimaraes will stick around if he doesn't feel that it's a winning project. Same with Tonali. They will get. It doesn't matter. I just don't think that they've got the project where somebody will come in for either of those guys and they'll get ripped apart. I'd be concerned, but we'll see what they do. They got money. They got backing. It's just a matter.
They got to get it going.
Yeah. I guess we'll bring up Noni here. I think this is a good segue into
Speaking of teams that are starting to get going.
Yeah. Noni is a really interesting player. 23. We've seen him do some good, but not really hit the mark, I'd say, when it comes to the play for Chelsea. I'm confused at how his market value is as low as it is, even though I'm saying that as well, because he's English.
You both.
But I also just... and
Sol Campbell gift?
I don't get this. I don't get this transfer at all.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it from an
Oh,
Arsenal
okay.
perspective. I get it from a Chelsea
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. As you guys can see, I handpicked a good graphic here. This was our goal contributions in the calendar year of 2025, and a guy who started most of those games out wide, our goal scoring winger, is not there. You can understand that. Maybe he had a down patch, but now he played a lot of games, and kind of to what I alluded to earlier. He is very willing. He will go at his man every time, but a lot of times it won't come off. I think I went into that little tangent, how he kind of moves like a baby giraffe because he had a late growth spurt, so kind of loses his balance on the ball a lot. I'm not fully sold on that, but sense when you watch him, it just gets very frustrating. Kind of the opposite of what we were just talking about with Sancho, where it's like, okay, like stop just running into three people. And on the left, it's kind of gotten worse because he doesn't have that comfortable option where you can cut in and get a shot off. So yeah, I can totally understand us selling him. It's exactly what this model's predicated on. We signed him for £29 million, 50K a week, 8 years, 7 years, whatever it was. I think he's developed over these past 2.5 years, but I also think he has plateaued. That's not to say he's done developing. I absolutely think he could continue to develop, which is why I don't love selling him to Arsenal. I still think there's a good player in there, but it's also not a player I'm not willing to part with. You know what I mean? I've got no problem selling him for a profit because we got Esteban coming in. Plenda's coming in next year. I think there's more than enough on that right-hand side. So yeah, I got no problem selling him, but I'd rather have Newcastle come in. Right? It could have given us 55. But game's the game. Game is the game.
Yeah, Mila,
question, Mila?
what do you think of Noni?
Of Noni to Arsenal?
Yeah, what do
just
you
Noni in general?
You can take it either way you want.
I think it's an interesting signing. Is this obviously to fill the Martinelli role?
Is it?
Yeah, because
or is he
on
a
the
backup?
left. I think he's wing depth
on the right.
He's wing depth,
Like,
but I think it's a good signing in a tunnel. But I think Arsenal have bigger priorities than funding our next inning. You know, and why would you do that? I think look at the track record. If they go get Rodrigo, different conversation.
If you just get Gyökeres and Madueke, okay.
Yeah,
I think it can work. I think, but to what you were saying, like he's plateaued at Chelsea, it could get better in a different system, different coaching. It could bring that the best out of him. But if this is the plan for Arsenal right here, then it makes sense. As Madueke has depth with room to grow with a new change of scenery, and Rodrigo leading the helm at the left side.
Rodrigo's gonna be 90 M's.
I
right?
haven't seen it like this.
If this compromises their pursuit of Rodrigo, that'd be crazy because I think Rodrigo's gone.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that's already happening.
Is this settling?
They need to be on that. That changes things. But I think Eze as well, who's not shown, that's the other name they're really linked to. I think he's also a depth piece that gets a lot of minutes, whether he's as an 8, a left winger. I think he gets minutes. If you get Eze, Rodrigo, Gyökeres, Madueke, okay, that's good. But if it's Madueke, which kind of feels like a priority right now, and again, you can't do my Rodrigo right now. That tournament's still going on. Gyökeres, I think if I were an Arsenal fan, I'd prefer to get a number 9 over the line. But yeah, just Madueke kind of being the priority, and whether that's agents telling Fab to post more about it or not. Noni being like the number 1, like, oh, we got to get this one over the line first. That was kind of puzzling to me to that point. It doesn't make sense. I think he would get most of his starts off the left, which we've kind of seen other than when Trent's the right back. He hasn't looked great. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I think it's important that they have cover for Saka. He's played way too many minutes, had the injury this past year, but partly because of that. So it's good to get him cover, but yeah, it's redundant when you're not getting this other business done. They should probably prioritize that.
Yeah, I'll start with the good on Noni because I think that from an Arsenal point of view, we've been all kind of screaming that they just need goals from guys up front, and like Noni is very front foot, which makes sense. Like
He'll definitely try to score some.
Yeah, and look, they make a ton of chances. They create a ton of chances. They just weren't really able to find output. Noni could potentially give him that. Maybe in a new system with a different manager. Who knows?
Potentially.
Right? Like that's what they're basing this off of. What I don't understand, and this is just modern football, is if he's there as backup depth and you're paying 55 million, does he provide anything more in terms of talent or potential than Waineri? No,
Yeah,
not in my opinion.
And that was funny too, that came out right after, is that we would be interested. That's diabolical. I'd be furious. I think that was universal from Arsenal fans, was if we lose Monieri and sign Madueke, they'd be furious. And I agree.
It's just
I think he could do that job. He deserves that chance.
Yeah, and
instead of giving your rivals 50 million.
I think that's just the going, right? They're going to spend it on somebody. I just don't know why it would be Madueke. He just doesn't fit the clear need at left wing.
It's a good thing to bring up, because in terms of the fee, I don't think we're going to get 55. I've seen that he's available for 50. That was the brief that was coming out before the Arsenal interest, was 50 million pounds. Again, we got him for 29. There's a big valuation, which is 10 million. So they're looking at 40. We're looking at 50. I don't think it's going to go above 55. I think 55 would be the highest it goes. I think it'll probably end up being 50, including the add-ons. Like, I don't know. I kind of thought that was like, I'm surprised he would be that much lower than Elanga. I feel like if anything, they'd be on a similar level. Noni's been getting England time this past year. I feel like he would be, if anything, a little higher, but I guess not. What do you, because I'm biased. Of course, I might think my guy's better, but what do you guys think?
I think they're similar in terms of potential and profile, right? Like, you're looking at a right winger in the Premier League who put up GA. Like, it's weird that the evaluations are so far off. It could just be at this point that we're starting to see maybe a little bit of backfiring in terms of what it's still going to net you 45 to 55 million pounds, but maybe it's because you guys have so many options that you're just looking to get rid of somebody that it makes that price lower. And to, I think, earlier points that we brought up in the pod, he already said pencil to paper, like, I'm cool with this team coming and getting me. And that always knocks down price. If your asset wants to go somewhere, it just knocks 10. Knocks 10.
And I think it's an interesting point too, because I don't think this deal is a guarantee to happen. It looks like it will, but there's a big gap in valuation. What if they go, oh yeah, what are we doing? What are we spending this much money on? And they did. And now you have a guy at Chelsea who agreed to go to Arsenal, and now he's there. I don't feel like, oh, he wanted to go to Arsenal. Fuck him, get him gone. I think this was more of a nudge out the door. Hey, we're comfortable selling you. You were seeing those briefs like a month ago. Oh, they're listening to offers. They had no problem selling him. I think they put him on the market. Arsenal are interested. All right. But I don't think he was like, oh, I want to go to your director. I don't think that was ever the case. So to any Chelsea fans reacting like that, I think that's outrageous. But yeah, at the same time, if this falls through, they don't make the right offer, and he's just at Chelsea and he accepted a deal to Arsenal, it is still pretty weird. I think that would be the beginning of the end. He'd probably be gone the next summer. Like, I don't think he'd be able to really come back from that. Like, that's just kind of tough. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I'd prefer not to sell him to Arsenal. But at the same time, it makes sense why we would be willing to sell him. But who's coming in for him? Like, are we going to replace him? Are we going to trust our talent?
Do you put yourself in a position?
I don't know, because Kudus was the only other name I was seeing. Kudus was the only other name I saw. Ornstein kind of hinted to, like, oh, if they sell, like, they're absolutely going to get somebody. He's been wrong about our transfers board, but I'd like to probably agree with him on that. Whether or not it's the right move, I think we'd be fine staying pat with the amount of attacking talent we have. But I don't know. Maybe Morgan Rogers. That'd be beautiful. But my gut feeling is Xavi Simons. I think that's who it would be, because I was talking to Dylan before you got in, Mila. But Neto came through pretty quickly last year. That took less than a day from when it came out to here we go. So I think that can still very well be cooking in the background, especially after we finish up this tournament. They might get down to business. So maybe it's still another guy of that profile. But business isn't done yet. But this was definitely an interesting development that we talked to a recurring friend of the pod, Facundo. Hopefully we can get his thoughts on it. I enjoyed his reaction. is what I'll say. So excited to hear his full thoughts. We'll talk about it more once some stuff once some pen hits paper with Arsenal. They got Zubimendi though. That finally happened. Congratulations.
Yeah,
I
think
think number 36, dude.
Even if they get Noni, I think that the one person that benefits the most from this move will be Noni. I think in terms of a lateral move, it's Chelsea to Arsenal. He stays in London. He gets to compete at Champions League level as well as the highest level in the Prem, which is great for the player. I think Noni's got talent. I just think that it may be overrated. He might just be a good squad player.
He's a selfish player, and sometimes that's a good thing to have. But I tend to lean to maybe he's a little too selfish. But again, that's a good trait to have, I'd say, if you can really harness it. But sometimes it can be a negative as well, as we've seen. But
he's closer to a Garnacho than he is to a Saka. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of player that we're talking about.
Most definitely. I'll probably give him number 42 or something.
Oh, as they should.
You get meaty numbers over there. That's what they do.
Let's move on to the bigger announcement that came out today, yesterday, which is Gyökeres and Arsenal are finally coming together. Before we go negative, because I know that's where this path tends to go down.
Immediately.
Let's talk positives with this move and what it can mean for Arsenal. I know that
no.
I don't know. Positives?
Do you see positives with this, Mila? I think
there's positives. There's plenty of positives. We've been telling them, the world's been telling them, their fans have been asking for a striker, not Havertz, to play there. Just a real striker, a goal scorer, and now they got it. Is it the right guy? That's up for debate, certainly. I think some people would say yes. A lot of people would also say no. Yeah, but I think, did they release the price yet, or is it just?
No, we don't know.
Okay.
We know that.
That's the
so the gentleman's agreement. The gentleman's agreement was 60 plus 10 euros, and that's what they're not holding it to, because the gentleman's agreement, I think that sporting director got sacked, so it's a different guy now, and that guy's like, no, we're not doing that. I think they want 80 total, so it's like 10 million apart, and this is what the whole
10 million less than C.O.C. is.
Yeah, and C.O.C. I think is who they wanted.
Exactly, but C.O.C.'s not worth 90 million also.
No,
so this is the thing.
Absolutely not. It's a weird one.
In the eyes of the market, it's an okay move, I think. But in terms of just getting a very capable goal scorer, I think it's a great move. I think C.O.C. might have been a better fit, but this is a step in the right direction for them, and it could very well pan out, and he can adapt to the league. He's played in England before, so the adjustment shouldn't be too tough for him. I'm just concerned about the speed of the game and certain consistency. Maybe that's just going to be an adjustment period type of thing, or it could be his downfall completely.
Yeah, the Portuguese league, I don't think has showed itself in a very positive light throughout this Club World Cup. That was one of my big takeaways. And to your point, Mila, I think there's a very different speed at this level. So I think that will take some time to readjust to, because he wasn't at the top level, right? He was in the championship. But yeah, I think C.O.C. was definitely the better fit in terms of their system, just crosses in the box, big athletic striker. But 90 million is crazy. I don't think he's there yet. I think he's got another year or two to really develop and become the final product. Gyökeres more of the final product. He scored 0 headed goals last year. And again, I haven't seen enough of him to definitively say I think he's going to be shit for them, or definitively say he's going to hit for them. I do think he'll score goals. I think he will have decent to high output, regardless of how we feel about him as a player. But I do have my doubts. What I said, that one game I watched of him was the hat trick he scored against City. I thought he was awful in that game. I thought he was terrible. So that always just sticks in my head. But yeah, we'll see. They needed a 9. I mean, me and Fakunda were talking about it because the Madueke news came out a little before the Gyökeres move, the news. And his big point was, okay, if we are signing this guy before A9, they need A9. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. They could have taken the 20 million on Mascara they want to spend. Go get A9. They need a body to play up top. So at bare minimum, yes, you have another striker. He is so I think that is a positive, but I have my doubts. But again, I think he'll score goals. I think he'll probably mean at worst he'll have like 13 league goals. I think he'll end up with goals. You know what I mean? It's a good game or it's a jammy goal. He'll put them away. He'll find a way. But maybe that's just what they need. Who knows? I think Zubamendi's a good signing. If they get Eze, that'd be pretty good. I'd be starting to see it, but I don't know. I don't love the signing. Thankfully,
I'm a lot higher on this move than I think most people are. Because I think that Gyökeres has a skill set that Arsenal has lacked in a majority of their games this last season. In terms of actual play, and I always relate this back to when City first got Haaland, because it was such a shock to the system. I don't think that you spend, we're gonna guess it's 80 million on a striker if one Arteta isn't on board, as well as the department thinking, hey, like, look, this guy is gonna come in. We have to change our system to fit him in because he can be a prolific goal scorer, which that's the one jigsaw puzzle that has been missing for Arsenal for 3 years now, which is just, can we get a guy who can put the ball in the back of the net and who can stretch the field? I mean, how many times do we just watch a team go into a low block or mid block against Arsenal and just shut them out? And Arsenal just didn't have an answer unless it was off a set piece. I think that
you can't cross into him.
No, well, I don't think they need to. I think that they're going to be able to. The ball playing ability of Odegaard and Zubamendi is so good that they're just going to play him into a channel.
Very good signing.
They're going to play him into a channel and say, "Hey, run onto it and play the ball to somebody else." Which him and Noni might make sense from that regard. Like the amount of goals that Gyökeres created for other people by just sprinting into a half space and then putting the ball across the net is going to increase Arsenal's goal tally by at least 10. They create a ton of chances. They just don't have anyone to finish those chances. So I think just putting a guy in that's right now ready to make that leap, and he wants to be there. I think that's the most important piece of this whole puzzle is like they have a guy who's motivated, but also is willing to drop his wages to be there. That just seems like a match made in heaven. He's proven, he's quality.
Real
like, look,
gooner.
If he gets even 25%, Arsenal are a much better team tomorrow. And that's a risk that they had to make at some point. I'm actually more impressed that they just took it on Gyökeres and not on C.O.C, because I think instead of getting a bigger question, it's not, but I think that this happens. And I think that he's I just think that he's quality. I don't think that you can he even does it for Sweden. Like he just scores goals for fun. And I know that it's been against lesser opposition, but good players get better and better teams. Like that's the way I see it. I don't know why you don't take that risk if you're an Arsenal. This is literally, we had a podcast. We are on almost 50 episodes, and I can guarantee you from week 1 to 48, we've been saying they need a striker because
probably
they
go get Gyökeres.
Yeah.
And what do you call it? They
go get Ekitike though. Yeah, go get Ekitike.
It's a question.
You
mark.
wanted Isak
so bad. Been doing it for 3 straight years.
I don't know. It's a big question mark.
But they don't need. I don't think they need question marks. They need answers. This guy backs. Like even if he's terrible with all the other regards, he's gonna put the ball in the back of the net. He did it, like you said. He was terrible against City. He still scored a hat trick. You know what I mean? Like he could be terrible for 85 minutes and score 5 goals. It won't matter from an Arsenal perspective. They just need attacking talent. Yeah, and I don't think like an Ekitike.
I was trying to find something Facundo sent me, but it was something along the lines of a lot of them were penalties against the bottom half. He was hunting what the goals were and who they were against. I don't know. I know you're of the thought all goals come equal. Like look at those numbers. Like he's done that consistently. That's a lot of credit, which I think is fair. And I think you made some good points with how it would work. I think that's exactly how it would work if he were to kind of bang there. Like they change the way they play a little bit and they start to kind of get the ball moving. And I think Zubamendi will really help them with that. He's not Rod. I'm starting to hear kind of, it's getting a little too crazy, but he's a very suitable player. To your point on if they're going to spend that much, it'll work. I mean, they spent 65 on the left side at 8, who is now a 9. They spent whatever they spent on Marino. His best moments were at a different position. I don't know if I trust his ID, but that's kind of where I'm hung up. But again, they brought in a, and regardless of if he is what we think he is, or maybe he's not as good, he does improve them from where they are right now. But I think they need to do more business. I think we talked about it a little earlier with Noni, but they need to get that star left winger. They need to bring in Eze. That will start. I'll open my eyes to that. I think with that type of personnel, yeah, I can see them changing the way they play a little bit. But I'm not fully there yet. I don't think he's the striker.
Huge window
there either.
It's a huge window.
Correct. Well, we said it last summer, but this really is it. If they don't win shit this time, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Get another or something. You have to do something. It's time.
I swear to God, though, if they make this signing and Havertz starts up top for them, just kick Arteta in the nuts, dude.
Match week 1.
You lose your manhood if you pay 80 million for a striker and you start Havertz up top. I'm sorry. Just fucking get rid of him. I'd sack him literally the next day. That's the most dumb. I would be dumbfounded if they get a 9 and they still play Havertz up top.
He's going to play a lot. You know he's going to play a lot. Havertz is going to play.
Of course.
He's their highest paid player, Dylan. He has to play.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but I just don't, I think you have to change the system. If you
Gyökeres isn't taking a wage cut. I don't think he takes a wage cut. I saw the report. He's gonna concede money to Sporting, but he's gonna get paid because he's not gonna go in there, look at Kai Havertz and say, I want less than that guy. It won't happen. So that's a problem. I think that is a problem.
I think he takes less money because he wants to be at a place with Champions League football.
No, he's conceding money to Sporting.
Right, what they owe him, right?
He's getting paid $40K a week there. He's gonna get more than
he'll get a pay raise. I just think it's going to be like absurd.
You think he's going to look at Havertz and be okay with getting paid like half of that? I don't know. He's 27 years old. When's he going to get another check?
It's also true.
I think he's going to get big money. And kind of, I alluded to it a short while ago, but when you have Havertz as your highest earner, that leads to problems when you get to this stage. Eze wants to come in. You're talking in personal terms. Oh, I want $285,000 a week too. Look at Bayern. That's where they're at right now. They recorded their first financial loss because of all those guys on 400, 500K a week. It's a different game over there, but the point still stands. Like, you can't have a full top earner like that. Like, your top earner needs to be fucking Holland. Oh, that makes sense. I'm not getting Holland money. Every signing sees that and goes, oh, I'm not that guy. Oh, I need more than that. Well, maybe I'm too hung up on that point, but.
Well, for Arsenal, I think getting a guy who's 27, even if it's Eze, like the same thing, like you're not expecting to get a return. You're expecting them to play their prime footballing with you, and then they fuck off. Right now. Yep. And then they fuck off. That's what United have been tried to do for 5 years. It might not work out. I think it's a swing worth taking just because you have to make it at some point, and Arsenal lacked the cojones, for a lack of better terms, of actually doing it. So. I just think it's a good move from that. It's intent. We talk about intent all the time.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's the right word. Intent. Yeah. I was actually thinking about that. Like when we were going to record, I would use that for Arsenal as like a fair play, but I fucking forgot. Thank you for saying that. It is intent. It is intent. Regardless. And again, we could very easily be wrong. I can totally be full of shit. Gyökeres backs 40. Oops. So again, it is intent. They had to do this at some point. So yeah, fair play to that. But
step in the right direction.
I think they swung at the wrong pitch.
Oh, it is.
So,
they totally. That's the thing. Is it totally? They could be thinking fastball. It's coming in as a curve, and their strike three. It's gone.
Oh, you're off balance.
Yeah. Oh fuck. Now you look like a bozo. Yeah. That could happen. Yep.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Speaking of fucking bozos and idiots.
Man
United.
We went a whole podcast without talking about the fire show of Manchester United. I have no other stage. I have no other images of Manchester United players in or out, so we'll just go back to the one that we've been using for like 5 pods, which is Mbeumo is nearing, edging, almost finishing to coming to United at some point. I'll let you guys go first because I'm gonna try to take a more optimistic route, and I think you guys are probably more pessimistic.
I don't know what the point. Like, why are we taking so long with this?
So they don't get their pants pulled down. Because United taxes.
There's other business to be done.
That's true too.
So if this
Get
is
something
going
else
to
done.
take all your time, then it's not really
I
worth
think it
it.
shows how dire the finances are. If I had to guess,
Yeah.
like they really do need to get these outgoings going
They might
before they can
really
start
need it to,
buying.
yeah. Either that
Yeah,
or they really
so
want the player too.
I think that's smart. So we do need to be patient in that sense. And once you're seeing names that you're interested in start to fly off the rack and clearance is over, and you do need to get some guys in. I think that's very clear. I mean, when you got rid of, Anthony, Sancho, Rashford, you didn't replace them with any bodies. So kind of what we are just saying about Arsenal, you need someone in the forward positions, regardless if they end up being good or not. You do need players. So that's kind of my big worry. But again, I think it's just down to your finances. But then I'm worried that you can't sell players. So something does need to get going, but get the best price you can for Mbumo. I still think it'll happen. I don't doubt it, but I'd be frustrated. Like,
I think it's
yeah,
just
it'll
the
happen.
time. Yeah.
We got other stuff needs to get done. I'd be getting antsy, but nothing. It's not. Oh my God, we're cooked yet. It's easy mentality to jump into, but there's still a lot of time.
Yeah. No, obviously, like social media is going crazy because we got this Mbeumo news over a month ago. And so what I think happened was I think the calculus of the summer changed because they had no idea Mbeumo was on the market. And so I think that they found out that Mbeumo was on the market. They were the first to make a bid. And that's just what happened. And now they've been negotiating and, like you said, trying not to get their pants pulled down. So I'm not upset with Mbeumo not being here yet because I think that he will be here. It's just trying not to be United, which is good. Like they need to get rid of that thing, that tax. And we talked about that last summer. Like it's important to try to get rid of that. But at the same time, it's a little worrying in the sense of like, there just hasn't been links to anyone, which I'm going to take in the optimistic route of they're finally cleaning up shop in terms of these moles and these rats that they've had in the club forever. Leaking shit and putting things out there because I think that it's better to move in silence. Like City moved in silence and then popped out signings. Chelsea have moved in silence and then just popped out signings. That's the way to do business. You don't need your laundry out on the front lawn. I think that's why Amorim shut down this Amazon deal that they were talking about. It's more important for United to clean out the stuff that's there and not just put their new shit on the lawn like they've been doing and repeating, but more importantly, just get everyone in line and then do the right business because doing the right business is a more important task this summer than doing impulse decisions.
Well, you've done the past decade.
Yeah, it's frustrating as all hell. I hate it. I hate watching you guys go around and fucking punt out signings every five
signing. He's playing tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, but fuck, what if United deserved to have that right to do it? They haven't. They don't sell anyone. They just buy people for ludicrous. And that's the way that the world has gone around. And that's what's put them in this hole. So I hope that it changes. I hope that I'm being optimistic and my faith is being put in the right spot. I could be fucking wrong.
That'd be funny.
I'm just hoping that Omar Barada is a better sporting director than the ones that we've had in the past. I think he did a good job at City. I'm hoping that he can bring that over to United. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But I mean, Osimhen's gone. Gyökeres is gone. David is gone. I actually don't hate Calvert-Lewin as a backup, but I don't want him as my marquee summer signing.
Yeah. I think what you guys need to do, in my opinion, because I'm seeing some, you see some fan lineups, 99% of them are just awful. But like most of, if not all the United ones I'm seeing are just like, I don't like them. I think go shop ship, in my opinion. That it'll be quiet there. And I mean, look at Wharton, for example. They found him last January, the season before, not this past one. They've had him for a year and a half. But I mean, look at him. He's England international. He got called up to the Euros. Like, there are players there in the championship that can come in and do a job. What better time? It's always going to be United. The badge will always be heavy. But what better time to come in and just kind of sneak in a 19-year-old guy who's never played first division? I think time. Not everyone's going to be a Wharton. You know what I mean? There's going to be some misses, but that's probably the way to go because I think you're right about Amorim. And I think this is what kind of the kind of hope that all United fans clinged on to, and I supported him for it too. I think he's no nonsense. Get Amazon out of here. Get all these players out of here. Let's reset. And that's why I think Facundo also had a point with change the system, do something. But I think part of seeing how stubborn he was in that sense, we knew what he was about. And I think you're right. I do agree. I think that is what he's about. It's time to get rid of all this shit and put in the players that deserve to be here, want to be here, and do the job here. And again, I think if you shop in the championship, you get some kid at Blackburn. Hey, you're our starting DM. Oh my God, he's going to give everything. I'll play in this system. I don't give a shit what system it is. I think that's probably the best path to success. It's not going to all be kids, but you got to bring in senior players. But I don't know. I think that's the quickest way back without cheating it.
Yeah, and from an Amarin perspective, I think that if he wanted a 9 would be here. And I think that he's ready to make tactical changes. Because, look, I don't think you make a Cunha signing and then go for Mbeumo with the idea that you're going to have money for another striker. I think if that was the plan and that's what Amarin wanted, United would have spent the 80 million. You would have overpaid for Gyökeres and he would already be here. So I think Amarim's understanding of that it's time to change, and he knows that he needs to change. He got punched in the mouth. So we'll see what that change is. I'm hoping that we get something sooner rather than later just to appease to people a little bit. But the only downside to all of this is I thought he needed a full preseason with these guys, and they just reported today, and now you don't have that. And so that sucks. And I'd love for these guys to be on the tour so they can start getting minutes with the manager and get that kind of loading, because they need a hot start right from the beginning. The only link that now I'm clinging on to at striker, if they do end up getting it, is Watkins, because we've talked about him with Arsenal, we've talked about him with Chelsea. Now it's being linked with United. You've got two clubs desperate for two different things. They need money. We need a striker. Watkins might be the perfect player at the perfect time for both clubs. From Villa's perspective, what they do to replace that, I have no idea. I don't know if that's a Rashford thing. I don't know if Rashford
I know who it is.
It could be Jackson, right? Yeah, very
That's
interesting.
Another domino.
But maybe
Watkins
that's the issue. United
domino.
needed
Watkins
other
would be
teams to start
domino.
spending to know what they could get rid of. Because I feel like Rashford, they needed to figure out if Nico Williams is going to Barca. Right? Like now you know that there is a pathway to getting him there. Sancho is it sounds like Sancho is going to be the first one out, and they're going to work something out with Juventus to maybe get someone back. So we'll see. But I like Watkins as a profile. I think if they're already in for a bunch of money in terms of we're going with this older crop, we're buying goals. Watkins hasn't had an under double-digit goal tally in the league, I think, in like 5 years. Pretty much since coming up with Villa, like he just bags 10-plus goals. So you're inserting 10-plus goals. He might miss chances. The profile might be wrong. But I think that in terms of just a player, Amram will love him, and I think that it just makes United a better team. So why not take the swing on him?
Yeah.
A lot of these timings and links are floor raisers.
What were we going to say, Mila?
As a transitional piece, though, if you guys don't want to overspend and go get a striker this year, I think he is the alternative. He's proven, like you said, he's consistent in the league at least. It might not be top tier every season, but it's consistency. So I think he would be a great signing for you guys just in the meantime, 1-2 years, and then make that big signing at the striker once the foundation is built around it.
Yeah. The goal from Barada has been the 50th or the 150th year mark? Or the 27, 28, whatever it is. And getting United to a spot where they are competing and winning league championships then. So if you're United, you can get this stopgap striker. Like, look, if United can make a run, get into a Champions League spot. This is a big gamble, right? And the leapfrog of getting there would be high. I think obviously if you get a Watkins, that improves your chances. You get Champions League football next year, and there's an Isak that's on the window. As United, you have enough pull to make that at least a viable argument next summer for your marquee signing to be Isak, right? And who knows? You can actually play ball. Like, who knows? Maybe Liverpool fall off a cliff. They just spent 150 on Wirtz. They don't have the money. Arsenal just spent 80 on Gyökeres. They don't have the money. Chelsea, they'll be in the bidding, but City have Holland. Like, who knows? So I think you just have to put yourself in spots to get closer to Champions League. Watkins feels like a player that gets you closer to Champions Leagues.
That was my idea with us not getting a striker. Like after Delap, I was like,
yeah,
well, let everyone Sheshko, Ekatike, Gyökeres, all them, like, then go get Isak. That, yeah, I'm not mad. And again, I think floor raisers, the floor needs raise because the floor cannot be 15th. It just cannot be. The floor has to be 8th. And that's low, but that's the floor, right? You can't get lower than that. And you're bringing a lot of guys in where the floor is just coming up. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. And to your point, they're not the ones that are going to get you lifting the trophies, but you do need these guys to come in. It's not going to just be an instant fix. And again, shopping the championship, all that good stuff. You still need an Al Watkins here. And you need guys to bridge the gap. So
yeah, the quality in the squad's going to have to go up.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. But enough United.
These shitters.
Yeah, they're slow. But City, after the last episode where I was like, oh, yeah, the right side sucked. They need to get a right back. They immediately get linked with the right back. Mila, Dumfries links
That's
came out.
such a good picture.
I mean, they're so light, but they're so interesting at the same time. A 25 mil release clause for Dumfries is.
I want to put my
all right.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
To have
that seems like the profile right back you guys want.
Right back. I mean, I go from no right back to Dumfries for 25 million. It's not really what I expected, especially when the other option is 80 mil for Livramento. This could definitely hold us over. If we still want to go get Livramento in the future, this is not a dent in the books to do that. So I think this is a great move if true. And I don't think we should be having any conversation with Inter whatsoever.
Just send him the money in a check in an envelope.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
25 million.
A Dumfries City jersey.
Give him 28 in beneficial installments and bring him over. I think this is what you guys want your fullbacks to do. Get up and down.
Exactly.
Get forward.
Yeah.
Like this is the new system that they
He's
want to play.
29. He's like well experienced.
He's played Champions League finals, and I think Dumfries, like we see like the best of Dumfries, like these Champions League nights. He has some shocking games too. But again, for that price, the experience, it seems like a no-brainer. It makes sense. To your point, Mila, they've been pretty light. Like it's not heavily rumored or linked just yet, but it makes perfect sense. Livramentos can still be a target next year. To what you guys were talking about earlier, Newcastle can finish 7th, and he's 60 now. So that can happen.
On a Newcastle fire sale.
Yeah, and Dumfries is 29. Nunes can still do that role. Rico Lewis can play right back if you set up differently. And then next year, all right, one of them leaves. You bring in Livramento, call it a day, probably Nunes. So, yeah, this makes perfect sense in terms of squad planning. It still works, doesn't block anything. Get it done.
Yeah. Since we're American, I'll bring it back to basketball. Like it's Lakers to the Ayton, right? Like or Ayton to the Lakers. Like this is what this is. You have a hole. You have a hole. He's a cheap alternative. Would I pay 50 million for him? Fuck no. Would I pay 25? Sure. Sure. Why would I say no to that? That's just a market opportunity. You have to take a swing.
But I think this can work, and I think Ayton sucks and it won't work. So that's why I don't like the comparison. But yes, you're not wrong. It's whether or not it's a square peg in a round hole. He's a center. He's a right back. Like go get him. I think he makes sense in the city setup. DeAndre Ayton doesn't make sense in the Lakers setup. But we won't talk about basketball.
He hit the
It was a good comp. I'm harsh.
Yeah, you need market value. I mean, at 25 million, just fucking do it. Be done with it.
Yeah.
Like send him like I said, like Mila was saying, send him a PO box about yay big. It's got the Dumfries jersey. With whatever number you can think of. I don't know what's left.
Well, he's gonna get two. Two's available. Walker's gone.
Oh yeah. There you go.
We didn't announce that. Your former captain's gone, Mila. Are you okay? How do you feel? Get the sad violin music.
Yeah, get the world's tiniest violin. Yeah, good for him. He was great in his good years, but ended not too shabby, as a lot of our greats do.
Is Gundo gone? Is he going Turkey?
Gundo, he's on vacation in Turkey.
Yeah,
where
does he go?
Bro's hair looks fine. No, he's Turkish, but there is a chance. But yeah, I think the links are saying Galatasaray. Good for
Mm.
him. Good for us.
Osimhen link up, hype. Nico G gone too, or is that overdone?
I don't know. I think that's a bunch of
Because I had never seen the source, but
honestly.
let it play out
I
a
think
bit.
it's
Yeah.
very
True.
convenient. If it is true, I think it's kind of soft, which is kind of what I was talking about when we were talking about going to get Zubimendi for the same role, and him kind of being like, I don't want to compete. Like, you knew what you came here. Like, you weren't just gonna
Yeah.
ease out Rodri in fucking half a month. Like, come
The
on.
City aren't going to give you time to
If he's upset
develop.
that yeah,
They're
if he's
competing
just
for every
upset
trophy.
that he didn't play. He played 60 minutes in 4 games in the Club World Cup. Not a lot of minutes, but I do think I've said multiple times, I think it's a farewell tour for a lot of those old guys in the midfield.
It is. Looks
So
like it.
I think you just got to deal with that and know that his time is coming. This new time just came to an end. The era is over, and now that this is their time. So I hope he just stays. I think the club
Yeah.
wants him to stay, so it's more up to him.
Could be
Yeah.
overblown. We'll see.
As children would say on video games, get good, kid, is my response to all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get good, kid. Speaking of farewell potentially tour,
I don't
Ederson
know
in or
about
out?
farewell.
for the 5th summer running. Hey.
In terms of the starting spot, it might be time to talk about Edison in or out for sure. He's already come out and said he's staying
So
verbally, but we haven't done any contract extension. I don't think.
Is it 1 year?
What? Yeah, I think so.
here, let me pose it
He
to you
hasn't
this
been
way:
great.
would City go into next season? He's your starting goalkeeper. Are you happy with that?
I don't know, dude. I think before Club World Cup, I could talk myself into it. Thought that he just had a bad year last year. It has not gotten much better in the Club World Cup. And however you view the tournament, like you don't want someone to continuously get worse throughout a tournament. Make the little mistakes, especially with his feet. Like that's the shit that we just praise you for, to be the best of all time
Right.
in your position, and you're giving away easy passes like that. It could be that's gone, that time's gone, or mentally out of it, just not locked in, which is fine. He's done this for a long time, but that can't be our starting goalkeeper when we're pushing for Champions League, when we're pushing for Premier League titles, all these extra competitions. And then you look around the Club World Cup and you see all these other shot-stopping goalies taking their teams through to the latter stages. Just Bono, Courtois, Donnarumma, to name a couple. Like, they make huge saves. Not the best with their feet.
Neuer's been good.
Yeah.
Neuer's obviously good with his feet, but he was actually good in this tournament.
Yeah. Like, all these shots, more capable shot stoppers are having more effect at the position.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I feel like he never really held that many shots up until this recent sort of turn of form for City, this turn of fortune.
Yeah, and it just might be the way that we're playing now too. Like before,
Yeah.
he might have been the key for us to unlock the
short
whole
passing and
shebang. But now it could be that we need a shot stopper if we're gonna play this high risk, high tempo football, and we're gonna allow chances where someone's gonna be 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, or the goalkeeper's gonna have to make a quick double save. And we've talked
point.
about it. There's people like Chevalier out there. He might be a little costly, but he could do both of those things pretty well. So why not go get someone like that and then go spend that money on Dumfries, that 25 mil, and go get Chevalier for 50, and that's the money you were going to spend for Livramento this year.
It's a good point. I mean, I didn't really even think of it to that sense because when I've been thinking about this sort of remodel and how City are playing, my love is Edison just because he's been there so long. He almost like he's synonymous with this Pep City. You know what I mean? So you don't even really think about it. I'm looking at every other position and where everyone else is. I'm not even worried about Ederson. But yeah, to your point, The shot stopping hasn't gotten any better, and with as many bodies that are going forward, you guys are going to concede. They're going to be conceding more than they're accustomed to. So to your point, we've always known he's not a great shot stopper. So yeah, maybe you need to keep her with a different skill set, or maybe the short pass and twos. He can't do that, but he can play a long ball in. He can play it accurately, and he can stop some shots. So yeah, that is a good point. But I did look it up. Contract expires next year. If he does stay, it's probably it. I'd have to think.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan, your camera died?
My camera died.
Yeah.
So I will be like this for the rest. My ripped picture of Grant saying we are disgusted. He's probably the dumbest human being ever.
Accurate, yeah.
It's funny. I actually brought up this point with goalies with the U.S. team, which is like you don't win games by having a good goalie. You can certainly lose them by not having a good goalie, and that's how I'm feeling with Ederson. I think at this point, which is he's starting to lose you matches, and that's just not a good fundamental point with the goalkeeper that you can have. Like if your defense is losing it. Yeah, and I think that's what we see at United. Like you just lose faith. You lose faith in the guy behind you, and man, that partnership and that bond becomes super severed super fast. And so I feel like this just feels like the right time for City to find a new one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Silva.
Oh God.
Because I don't know if Pep wants a goalie that isn't like Ederson and Silva's the only guy that does that.
Silva, which one?
Costa.
Oh yeah, sorry, Costa. I didn't say that's
other Portuguese name, Dylan.
Yeah, yeah, Costa. Because
I think it's too similar to Ederson, and it's not going to help enough. But I could be wrong about that.
I just don't know
really
if that's
impressed with Chevalier.
I like him too, and I think that evolution-wise,
Georgi Petrovic is available.
No, you buy our players.
Yeah, not the other way around. He's just that feels like the one that's been coming for a while, and so I expect that to be true. One. But
but that was before this whole remodel.
It could be Pep saying, "Hey, here, it's time to do something different."
Yeah, I do think we're going to need a little bit of a shakeup in that goalkeeper position, something that we haven't seen in a while, and just a more traditional shot stopper.
Mayon's on the market.
I don't see Pep going too sacrificial in the terms of that play style, so he's going to have some capability. But I think I would prefer if they were more capable as a shot stopper than Costa.
Would you take Maignan, like if he were still available for what, 20 million?
He's still injury prone. That just sounds like a fucking pain in the ass knowing this.
Yeah, sure. I'm still pissed we didn't do that. Can I say, based on all this goalkeeper talk, I mean, I haven't mentioned mine in like 2 months.
Well, you mentioned it today.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean? How I usually talk about him.
That's fair. Well, hour 23. You guys got anything else you guys want to talk about? Or are we cool?
Well, I was gonna actually talk for another half hour, but your camera's off, so I guess we'll have to cut it short.
That's fine if you want to talk for another.
I was gonna do a tactical analysis on Wolves.
On Wolves,
I had planned.
Fair enough.
And I got nothing.
Cool. Then let me end it by starting with Jota. Obviously, sad loss of life, but hopefully Liverpool do everything in their power to see out his family and make sure that his legacy is immortalized. And from us, we'll throw this up to end it because it only seems right with the way that we do this podcast, which is grabbing our nuts, talking shit, but knowing ball more than anybody else on planet Earth.
That is important.
But from myself, Mila, and Grant, we have been Clash of Clubs. This has been episode 49, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal! Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent! Potentially life-changing! That's for football, minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.